Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Out and About in the UK. Coming up a little bit later in the show, Diana will be at the London Irish Centre where Tedfest brought Craggy Allen to London. But first I'm here at the Churchill Arms in Kensington to join County Clare native Gerry O'Brien in celebrating 30 years at the helm of this award-winning pub.
Today we're celebrating the presence of a Clareman who has run this pub, the Churchill Arms, for the last 30 years. And that's what we're doing here today. And we have a street party. I suppose it's unique, and I can't imagine anybody will be able to close a street in London, in the Royal Borough of Kensington, except Gerry O'Brien. Gerry's recreated his own idea about the world and the world he came from and the world he wanted to inhabit in this premises. And he has attracted people from all over the world because of his hospitality, because of his imagination about what to do in an English pub but with an Irish heart.
And Brendan, what makes the Churchill Arms special?
The Gerry has managed to bring English people, local people, residents of the area, to understand that being Irish is actually part of them and that they are part of him. And he has done this extraordinary nexus of the two together, and today is a celebration of just that, their appreciation of him and love of him and his respect for them.
Brendan, when you came over from County Clare many years ago and people like Gerry were running pubs here in London, what was the pub scene like at the time?
The idea of having traditional Irish music in the Churchill Arms in the times when I came here long years ago was just unthinkable. In fact, the idea of having traditional Irish music in so many pubs in London in the years I came here long years ago, unthinkable. It would be ostracised, there would be objection, rejection. And the transformation of this premises has been due to the heart and history and romance of the man who now runs it.
Gerry, how did you get started in the pub business?
When I grew up at home in O'Gonallow, our local shop, the pub and the shop, I used to go down there for my mother and bring papers and the veg and the shopping for her back to the house, and in my bike and that. And I used to always see them doing the Guinness, they had the big barrels. They used to take ages pouring the Guinness and taking the heads off it and all that. And I'd be buying my groceries for my mother, and watching the other part of the bar serving the Guinness and drinks. And that's the type of, places were like that then, And I think it must be that put this into my mind. I'd love to be a barman one day. When I was a bit older, 16, 15, 16. And then, of course, I came over here for a holiday. My sister was nursing over here, and I came over for a couple of weeks holiday, And when I was here, then I suddenly thought, would I get a barman's job in London, So I looked up the Irish Post, and there was Mrs. O'Connor, and she's only retired not that long ago. She's advertising for jobs in bars that had ads out. So I rang up this place, and my sister did. I got an interview on the job in Marylebone High Street. And you know what? I got the job there. Imagine I was only 17. Imagine. A lovely Irish man called Michael Tierney from Galway. And he was here today. He's been retired now. He came back today, especially for this event, And I got the job. And I ended up behind bars. I ended up being a barman. I was trained as a barman and all that. And then I fell in love with the business. And it's still the same. 47 years of it now, that. And I suppose because of the pleasure you get from serving people and looking after people, you know, and the respect you get back, that was my big thing. So I always wanted to be look after people to 100%.
And Gerry, you've won quite a few awards over the years. Tell us about those.
You know, I think we've won something every year nearly since I've been here, you know. But I think when I won when I won the Pub of the Year, I won the Evening Standard London Pub of the Year. I think it was 1999. You know, and that was something terrific. It was, you know that. But I had won our brewery's Pub of the Year, and that was stiff competition from behind the scenes as well as front of scenes. You know, that was special. My plaques are in the bar there. You know, I remember that was fierce special. And then the London Evening Standard, which was Pub of the Year as well. That was terrific as well. That was 1999, I remember that. That was a lovely way, and it was in November, a lovely way to end the 90s, you know, as well, you know. And the flowers, of course, as well, was my thing that I started off with outside and inside, you know. But we won London in Bloom, I don't know how many years ago now, maybe 10, 12 years ago. And that was, to me, London in Bloom. That was fantastic, yes. And last year we won London in Bloom for the second year running now. You know, there's 3 times in total. I think we were runners-up in Great Britain in Bloom years ago as well, you know. And I mean, because of that, we had royalty here there 2 years ago. London Gardens Club, he's Prince Edward, he's the patron of the London Garden Society. He took that title from the Queen Mother, actually, when she died. And they brought him to see this place where we had won their competition. And he came in, and I had to show him around. And he spent hours here, and I got him behind the bar, and we pulled a pint together. You know, that's fantastic, isn't it?
And I believe, Gerry, you got to meet the Queen recently. Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah, that was something, I must say. You know, all the time you pass Buckingham Palace, you look at them gates, don't you? You know, and I had a lovely, lovely invitation from a lovely regular customer here to go to the garden party, you know. And I thought, geez, that's unbelievable, you know. So we went in through the gates as well. I thought we might go in the side door, in the gates, and in again, and then out the back. And the lawn, that massive lawn there, and all the tables, like a bit like our tables and chairs out there today. And there she was as well, you know. She came about an hour after we getting there. She was speaking to a lot of the servicemen, you know. She was right close to me, very, very close to me. I could hear her speak, actually, you know. And that was very special.
Well, I started working at Fuller's 28 years ago, and obviously, as we know, Gerry's been here for 30 years. So within my first year working at the brewery, I was brought out to the pub by the then area manager, Mike Jones, who introduced me to Gerry. And since then, the rest has been history. There's lots and lots of stories that you could tell about Gerry, but I think one of the biggest thing is that he has always put his customer first, and he has got one of these things that we now use as a training tool, which is called Pigeon Head, which he trains all of his staff on. So as soon as you walk in the bar, you're constantly looking, constantly acknowledging, like a pigeon is constantly looking around, and then making sure that you're acknowledging your staff, because he wants every single person that walks in his front door to feel special and be welcomed and acknowledged immediately, and that's always been his priority. Looking at how many pints Gerry has pulled over the last 30 years, you're looking at 1,970,370 pints of London Pride that has been pulled since Gerry has been here, which is enormous.
Fill up in glass hands with brandy and wine. Whatever it costs, John Bull will pay. Easy and free. When you drink and repeat, and the man you don't meet every day.
My brother Mihal, who he was the editor of Re-Raw magazine back in the day. He lived in Ladbroke Grove, which is just down the road there, and he came in here and he told me about this Mad Clare man that had this pub with the Thai restaurant beside it, and we all got on like a house on fire. Gerry just said to me outside just now that another 5 years, and I love that's what drives people on. And that's what's really important to everybody. Not other people saying, oh, it's going to give up, it's going to... No. He has that drive and he has that beauty in his heart. And it's a great connection. It's a great thing. And I love that. So this is for Gerry. Oh, my lovely Rose of Clare, you're the sweetest girl I know. You're the queen of all the roses, the pretty flowers that grow. You are the sunshine of my life, so beautiful and fair. I will always love you, Gerry from County Clare.
Well, many thanks there to Gerry O'Brien for inviting us along here to the celebrations at the Churchill Arms in Kensington. We're going to take a break right now, but do come back to us for the second half of the show, where Diana will be at the London Irish Centre for this year's Tedfest.
Welcome back to the show and indeed the London Irish Centre here in Camden, where Tedfest mania is in full swing. Yes, Craggy Island celebrations of all things Father Ted have crash landed into London for a one-night shindig, and I tell you what, the party in there, it's pretty awesome. Peter, we're here in Camden at the London Irish Centre. Tedfest is go. You're coming up to your 10th anniversary next year. It has been a massive success, it's fair to say.
I think so, yeah. I mean, this is our second year in Camden. London Irish Centre asked us to do this. I didn't think it would work. I mean, Tedfest is unique. It's a 4-day festival on a big rock in the Atlantic Ocean. You know, it's out in the Aran Islands in February. And I thought, well, doing it a one-day event in London in the middle of the summer, I didn't know if it would work, but it worked really well last year. So, yeah, we're back again.
It is, as you say, such a unique event. Where did the idea for the whole thing come from in the first place?
It came from the middle of a civil war in Sri Lanka.
Right.
I was over, it was just after the tsunami, and I was involved in a charity, and we were working with an art therapy group in Aragon Bay. And I met up with an Irish guy who had heard of the same charity, and we were stuck in the middle of this civil war in 50-degree heat. And to keep us sane, we started talking about Father Ted. And Fergal McGrath, is a friend of mine, and he said, oh, because I do an Elvis festival as well, and he said, wouldn't it be cool to do a Father Ted festival? So we said, yeah, well, if we ever get back to Galway, we'll do it. And that's what the idea was. But the premise was always to make it the opposite of like a TV convention. It's not about sort of sitting watching reruns of the programme and getting autographs from people that were in the series. It's living the Craggy Island dream. So we brought Craggy Island to Camden Square.
I can imagine it's a weird event, but I can also imagine it's total and utter mayhem on Inishmore. So what is the atmosphere like there over the course of the 4 days?
It's hard to describe. It really is. I mean, I'm always embarrassed because all we do is facilitate a party, basically. We put on a lovely girls' event, and it's really cool music we put on as well. But it's all about the people, because it takes a particular type of person to want to go to the Aran Islands in February, and they all love Father Ted. So there's a sort of a peer group similarity with them all, and it's literally like channeling the programme through 500 people on an island that represents Craggy Island.
It is a festival that tends to sell out quite a lot because it is such a small island, so tickets are limited. I hear people come from all over the world.
People come from all over the world. Yeah, there's one guy, he's lovely. He's well in his 60s, he's Australian. And he was supposed to be coming with his wife, who was Irish. And he couldn't understand what it was all about. And she died. The year they were coming, she died. And the following year, he thought, I needed to go to see what she wanted to go to. And he's come back every year. He loves it.
What do you think it is about Father Ted that has people hooked years after the final series aired?
I don't know. I mean, I obviously it's a brilliant television series, and I think it represents a feel-good feeling at the time. I don't know. It doesn't compare to any other TV program. No other television show would have the longevity and create something like this.
Yeah, you're very right. I was reading somewhere that I think it was a quote from yourself that so many people come to Inishmore to go to obviously Tedfest, but the odd time there is the random tourist who comes to Inishmore completely unaware, and you tend to feed them a few lies, don't you?
Well, yeah, put yourself in the position of somebody who's on Inishmore. It's usually for a purpose. They're usually studying Celtic history, and they're seriously walking or looking at Dun Angus and everything, and they turn up and there's 500 people like this. We always tell her, we have a standard line, all the team will say, and it works particularly well with American tourists, that the island's actually owned by the Catholic Church, and every priest and nun in Ireland has one weekend a year on this island, no questions asked.
They just let their hair down and go absolutely crazy. Jack, fresh off the stage, here at Tedfest in London, how was the experience for you?
Absolutely fantastic. I must say I didn't expect so many people to be here. There must be about 400 people in that hall. It was just a great crowd, great crack, and just a lot of fun.
Yeah, you certainly had them going. Now, I know that your involvement with the festival kind of began in Edinburgh last year. So tell us a little bit about what you did there.
Well, basically every evening I would come along and Peter Phillips would introduce me as Father Jack Anderson from St Mary's Parish, and I would come up and have a few chats with him about Tedfest and about Father Ted, and then he'd say, I believe you sing too, and I said yes, and I would sing the Grapevine and take everybody by surprise.
You had the full Craggy Island experience. How can you describe it to someone who has never been there? Because it seems like such an unusual setting and such an unusual event to be a part of.
Some of the kids were actually coming in with a different outfit on every day, and they must have spent a lot of money to actually create these outfits, and their enthusiasm was incredible.
Are you a Father Ted fan yourself?
Oh, indeed, absolutely. How could you not be?
Peter, we're here in London at Tedfest. The atmosphere is absolutely incredible, isn't it?
It's lovely. It's really buzzing in there. It started off kind of slow, but it's really warming up, and I think it's going to be a good night.
There's so much going on today. We'll have a lovely girls' competition a little bit later. We have some wonderful performers on now. There'll be a Kaylee. And of course, we had the quiz that really tested everyone's knowledge here of Father Ted.
Yes, the quiz is one of my chores. Well, that's not fair to call it a chore, really.
Because you love it.
I do. Although it always gives me a little flutter of panic when it's heading round towards Tedfest again, and I have to start setting the questions, because you set the same questions every year, they're going to get them all right. So it's hard work, but fun. Well, it's classic comedy in a lot of ways, but I think that one of the things that makes Father Ted possibly different from a lot of other comedies is that gentleness in the humour. It never is in any way cruel. It makes fun, but it doesn't, pick on people particularly. It doesn't pick on the Catholic Church. It could do, but it doesn't. And its humour never, dips into that sort of murky, unkind world that it so easily could.
Louise, we're here at the London Irish Centre. Tedfest has taken place for the second year in a row, and it's been a fabulous day so far.
Yeah, I think we've been really blessed with the weather. Everyone's chilling out outside. The Cayley band are on inside. I think this year we've even more people, and they're just dancing around inside, having a great time.
Tell me about some of the events that took place.
So we started off with parlour games in the morning, and then we had matchmaking with Nelly, and I suppose one of the primary reasons for getting everybody up and involved is to make it as audience participation as possible, if that makes sense. So we had Ted's Got Talent. We had 9 fantastic acts, from ear wiggling to karaoke singing to, I think, an entire camogie team singing about Jesus. And then of course the highlight of everybody's evening, the Lovely Girls Camp, and we had 6 fantastic ladies, and definitely the right girl won this evening.
Anna, congratulations, you are a Lovely Girl winner, London 2015.
That's right, thank you very much.
Is that a title that you're going to just tell the world about proudly?
Absolutely, like I'm such a huge Father Ted fan, and I've been looking forward to Tedfest for actually years. I just never had the opportunity to come till this year, and I entered the Lovely Girls competition, of course, and I managed to come away with the winning sash, so it's very exciting.
You had that crowd in the palm of your hand, it's fair to say.
I know. It was really enjoyable. But when I came off, and I didn't realise it was a tactic of mine, but when I came off, one of the other lovely girls said, "You did very well to fit the word lovely in as many times as possible," which really, I think it kind of got them. You're right, got them kind of into it. And then I had the song, which was a call and response song, so everyone was able to join in, and they all really enjoyed it. So yeah, it was a winner.
So there was a lot of not so subliminal messages to the judges then to pick you, with the mention of lovely so many times.
That's right. I didn't really realise I was doing it. It just kind of happened natural, I suppose, just because I'm so lovely myself, you know.
And you are lovely. You're so lovely. Now, you said you've always wanted to go to Tedfest. You've finally made it here in London. How has your experience been?
It's been absolutely fabulous. Like, it started really early in the day, so there was really time to get into it, but from the moment we arrived, it's like another world. It's like just people who really appreciate, you know, you could be, because I live in London now, and I often throw out Father Ted quotes here and there, and nobody really seems to get it, but here you can hear Ted quotes all the time, and they're just, you know, it gets a big laugh and everyone joins in and everyone knows the responses. It's been just fabulous. I've had such a great day. It's been brilliant.
Peter, for anyone who's curious about coming in and joining in the celebrations next year, where can they find out more?
Oh, the website's tedfest.org. But the best way to find out about Tedfest is just put Tedfest into YouTube. You'd be amazed at what that throws up.
I've seen the videos. They're mental.
Yes, makes me very proud.
Well, there you have it, dancing priests, singing nuns, and lots of lovely bottoms. Craggy Island has come here to Camden, and what an incredible festival it has been. We're already looking forward to 2016. Ian, it's back to you.
Well, thanks, Diana. It looks like you had a great day. Lots of fun and excitement at this year's Tedfest in the London Irish Centre. If you'd like to contact the show, send an email to ian@irishtv.ie, and you can also find us on Facebook and on Twitter. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have right now, but do come back to us next week when we'll be out and about in the UK.